Welcome to the Hub. I am your host, Cheney Passer. My other host, as always, is here.
As always,
As always,
unfortunately,
she's still
she
around.
is still here.
Yeah. I have a little pre-workout.
Dring-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling.
A little pre-workout because we're gonna work out after.
Yes. I am actually really excited to work out today. I think the pre-workout is giving me an extra little fun hype up, but I think I've been watching these girls their vlogs on YouTube. They're called I think it's KK Fit. They're twins. And I have been just like obsessing over all of their videos and watching them at every second I can. And they're just like jacked. Like they're so big. Their life just revolves around working out. They're sponsored by Gymshark. And it's just been hyping me up. Like I feel like that always used to work for me of like if I was ever at the gym, it was like, oh, I don't want to do it. Scrolling through like just girls' Instagrams where they would be like the Gymshark girls or whatever, and just like seeing their workouts or seeing just how they look amped me up to go like, oh yeah, okay, remember we're trying to get to there. This is how you get to that is by working out.
Yeah.
So it's like that last rep of a squat that I hate doing. I'm like, remember what you want to look like. Remember what you want to look like. And those girls just roll through my head.
Isn't it funny how watching other people work out makes you want to work out?
Yeah.
Like it's just it
Yeah.
makes sense, but at the same time, when you think about it more, it's like that's just so weird that to motivate, like all I have to do or all I could do is just like watch somebody else work out.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot of the
It's
times
so
it's
simple
like
though.
just go to like just get yourself to the gym, because once you get in that environment and see everybody, then
Sure.
you want to start working out almost.
Sure.
Like that's kind of like advice you hear a lot of the time is like,
Yeah.
just get yourself to the gym. Just make that the first step, and then once you get there, usually you're good to go.
For me, it's sometimes like that. Sometimes it's like the way that like these girls specifically, the way that they make their life and the working out just seem fun, because just like whatever the way that they're editing the videos or just like I don't know, maybe they're just actually having fun, but the way that I'm watching the videos, it tricks my mind into like, oh wait, is this activity, like you forget about the hard part about it. You just see the fun of them doing it, and then you're like, oh yeah, I want to go work out, or I want to get big like that. Or you like in the video, you don't recognize like that means eating a lot. That means actually doing the hard workouts. That means putting in the work for it. But in that moment, you forget about that, and that's enough to like get me excited to do it sometimes.
Sure.
If I'm in those lulls where I'm not really amped about every workout.
Yeah.
Side note, you know what I was thinking earlier? I think the one like physical, like I don't know if it's a surgery or not, but thing that I would do for like appearance wise, and it's not even for appearance, but it's for, I think just it would become more of a problem, is I think I would end up like, if it did become a problem, like I think it's going to, getting some sort of like veneers.
Yeah.
I feel like it used to be just like an appearance thing. Like if your teeth were jacked up or whatever, it would just be easier just to get them than like get braces or something, where I already had braces. But these side things, they're just going to chip off and just keep chipping off. That like the amount of money and time to put in to fix those, I wonder if just like getting all fake teeth would make more sense eventually.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe just like better technology to
keep that on.
To keep those on, yeah.
The only thing they told me though is after time, if I don't get them replaced immediately when they start wearing out, which it's like they immediately started wearing out within like months of me getting it done the last time, then your teeth shift. So it's like, it's not just as simple as like replacing it. Like I'd have to get like Invisalign to then move it and then fill it in. And then again, when it starts to chip, then I have to make sure I do it right away, or get Invisalign again, or like get some sort of braces, because your teeth will then shift to accommodate.
Yeah. See, that kind of almost seems like a scare tactic though. Your teeth are always shifting. Your teeth are always moving.
Right.
So even if you have the filling in or whatever it is, they're shifting anyways. You
Yeah,
know,
but
they're
they're not
accommodating to what you're doing or how you're chewing or just how your face and your mouth is forming, whatnot. They're shifting all the time.
right. So then when there's an extra space because of the tooth kind of chipping off, then it's going to try to fill in that space to where I need that space to be able to keep filling it in.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be
That quick, maybe.
I don't know if it would be like that equation, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, like my teeth, I've never had anything done with them, and like some are, you know, they've almost like turned to a like, you know, it's like my mouth has narrowed. So some teeth have like turned and like slid behind other teeth almost. You know, like my two right next to the buck teeth, they're like turned and slid, to where you can feel that they're kind of behind or like they're just turned or whatever. That like it may not be as simple as like there's a gap and now your teeth are gonna fill.
Sure.
There. You know, it's like think
Yeah.
about anybody with gaps in their teeth. Like I have some at that same spot. I have these gaps. It's not like it's gonna fill that space.
Yeah.
You know, it's not automatic that that's the equation, I guess. You're also close to adulthood that like it's probably you're the shifting and the growing and stuff is slowing down. It's gonna be a while for that to happen. Plus, it's like it's really not noticeable.
Really? See, it's so noticeable to me. Like if I look from the side,
Yeah,
or even
'cause you're-
just the like the coloring is different over there because like not real tooth. So I think I notice if I really get close or like I can't floss the same, that kind of drives me crazy or whatever. I'm just waiting for it to like last time just like to chip off. Like every day I'm just like, oh, it's gonna end up being not there. And
Yeah, I think
fix
it's
it right away.
noticeable to you because you analyze it every day, though.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, everybody does that. You analyze yourself kind of every day and you notice things that other people don't even know is there.
Yeah. Like my lips.
Sure. Yeah.
My razor lips. If I have 10 comments, I'll get my lips done. If 10 people comment anything, I'll get my lips done.
That is not. It seems like you're wanting them to. It's not like you're not like if they're mean or whatever. It's like please comment 10 times so I have an excuse. No.
No, I couldn't do something like that. Mostly because it's probably the wrong reason to, but I wouldn't like, I don't know. It's almost something like not doing drugs ever. It's like, I want to be able to say like, I've never done them.
Sure.
Rather than like, oh, what if I do? And then later I'm like with a group of people that's like, yeah, we've never done it. It's awesome. Like I can't fit into that group anymore. I can't like have that conversation or something. It's the same thing with like not getting anything physically done. Even though it's so normal, it's still like, I want to be able to say like, oh yeah, I'm one of those that doesn't.
Yeah. I think that's a interesting
so
comparison, but
I'm putting it so much into other people of just like, I want to be able to be liked by the people that don't like girls that do that.
yeah.
It's like, it has nothing in it.
Yeah, who
So dumb.
cares?
So I'm getting my lips done.
Yeah. So you have issues and you need to figure that out. I don't know. I think there's like, you got to think long-term effects or those types of things. You know, I think that's always what's interesting about like tattoos are the common one of it's, you know, it looks all cool and fine and dandy now, but what happens when you're 80
Yeah.
and you have these tattoos and what do they look like then? And maybe it's like you don't care. It's just like I got these because I don't know, because I wanted them and I'll always like them. And some people are that confident in it, but there's always the flip side of the coin where, yeah, you become older and you've done plastic surgery or you've had tattoos and you get older, you start to question those decisions because it may look weirder as you get older. You know, I feel like that's what especially like the people who are older now that got plastic surgery, when they got it, the technology wasn't that great for it, or just maybe not that it was not that great, but wasn't as good as it is now, to where now that they're in their 80s, it's like, wow, it's very obvious you've had plastic surgery and it doesn't look as good. And
I wonder if the technology, like just the like technology, but also just like the I don't want to say the material, but like this, like say like for fillers for your lips,
Mm-hmm.
if they'll get better solution to put in there, like to fill it with, like will that get better or will it become worse and cheaper because it's just going to become, becoming more normal
Yeah.
that it's not going to be like a high end thing. It's like, it's going to become so attainable that they don't need it to be that high quality because everybody wants it.
I think like anything, it'll become cheaper because there's more of a demand for it and people will figure out the technology to make it cheaper and cheaper. But like always, there's going to be the better, more expensive option. You know, it's like anything in this room, you pick it out. It's like you probably paid more for the stuff that works better and you paid less for the stuff that doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be the same as like everything else. It'll just be a broader spectrum of what you can choose. You can get, you know, $15 lip fillers, or you can get whatever it is, $200 or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Because it's so common.
Doesn't
and it's
it
so
wear
common.
out?
It does. Yeah, you have to keep getting it done. I'm sure there's ways.
How does it like go? That's my, like, it wears
Where's
out.
it going?
Where does it go?
Well, that's what's weird because I think it does just kind of like start to dilute, like, or like kind of like dissolve. So it's just dissolving it. It's like Botox. Like it eventually just wears away.
And I don't know enough about this stuff, but like that's something that worries me. So it's like, where is this stuff going? Clearly you're putting something onto your skin or your lips or whatever, and it's filling them in, it's puffing them out.
They inject it.
Right. But then it's like, how is this just going away? Where is this all going? Is your skin absorbing this and that's why it's coming away? Like,
yeah,
it
it's probably
could
just like into your bloodstream or something.
I mean, doesn't that sound insane?
I mean, it sounds insane,
it's just into
but
your bloodstream
doesn't
and
sound
we're just fine
any
with
more
that.
insane than like half of the shit people eat.
I don't know. I guess maybe, but
you know, like it's like saline. It's like they just fill it's like it just kind of starts to absorb. Or I don't know with Botox what the actual, I keep saying I don't know, like the solution. I don't know what the
ingredients of it.
Yeah. I don't know what it actually is, but yeah, I think that's like it starts to wear away. So then you have to keep re-getting it done and refilling it so that it stays plump.
Yeah. And that it's the same question as like, where does that go? Like your skin is absorbing it and to me that's also a somewhat of a reaction to like your skin is noticing something that's foreign on it or in it. So it's doing what it can to extract it and get rid of it. That seems like what the process that would be happening, because otherwise it would just leave it and it'd be fine. But it's like it's noticing a quote threat of some sort and trying to get rid. Like to me, it's just like that's crazy. That's like
sure.
You know, if you break it down to that, like that's scary. You're just absorbing that, and that's what I mean. Like, what are the long-term effects of this? Of like, you know, what kind of damage could this be doing to your body? It's like the birth control thing too. It's like any of these little things are affecting your hormones, making your body respond in a certain way that could not be good for you. And it's like what you said, that's just becoming more and more normalized.
Well, now, especially with Botox, a lot of young girls like our age are getting it done for like preventative reasons. So like I think Botox used to be like, oh, I'm getting wrinkles, now I'm going to get it done to take the wrinkles away. Now a lot of girls our age are doing it, or in high school are doing it so that they don't even have the wrinkles come on. So like they'll kind of like, so say like their forehead, like all of these wrinkles that they'll freeze their forehead with the like they'll inject it so that it doesn't allow movement up here. Mm-hmm. So then they're never able to get the wrinkles.
Yeah, I don't think that's good for a lot of reasons, but to keep it more just like for your health, your physical health, like it's probably not good for your physical health that your skin is just absorbing this thing and going through this process of trying to get rid of it. You know?
I don't know enough about it. I think there is just something, and I say this now, and I'm already like, well, it kind of sounds good, but I feel like there is something psychological to aging, though, as well. Like there's a benefit to it, like of looking older.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a reason why everything happens the way it does in a sense. Like
Yeah.
the aging and showing the age means a lot. You know, when you're walking down the street, you're able to analyze and see people as they are and gain data that way. And when you talk with them, it's this whole thing. It's this whole psychological thing that's happening to where you start to get rid of these physical, I don't want to say cues, but like you start to alter that. You know, it's just like the whole argument and the scare about wearing masks for kids is that they're not learning facial recognition and cues, and they won't be able to learn, you know, just that whole spectrum of what we kind of unconsciously do, to where same thing, like in 25 years, everybody has Botox and nobody looks their age. You know, what psychologically are we going to be thinking or doing or reacting to unconsciously because we didn't learn or we don't know how old this person is?
I think that's something that actually came out with a study that came out with like our generation with them having kids is like what I said, like girls are now getting Botox before we're even getting wrinkles so that they can prevent the wrinkles. Well, that turns into you not being able to make your face do like you just said, like the expressions. So then when you have kids, they depend so much on your tone of voice, how you're saying something, how does your face look when you're saying it, so they can learn, oh, this is what it looks like when someone's angry. Their eyes do this, they frown, they have wrinkles on certain parts of their face, so that when they see that in other people just as cues of, oh, now I can tell that person's angry, I need to adjust, or I need to go away or something, or like that person isn't making any faces, but they're talking to me in this tone, that they need the full package to understand the full like human scope and spectrum of how to handle situations. That when you take that away, they don't know, like they're just like kind of just socially
Just lost.
yeah, like they can't figure out how to adapt to a person's emotions.
Yeah, and their
Because they
cues
can't
and
tell what the emotion is.
yeah. Yeah, I think well, and that's what's, I don't know, I guess the flip side of the coin too is like that's what the human race has done this whole time, is adapt and change and whatever. So I think there would be a time where even if like a world of everybody's Botoxed or plastic surgery or whatever, like kids would adapt to learn and pick up on other cues, or you know, they'd figure out other ways. But
Because that does just start to become normal.
right.
Because I think that's another psychological thing, is when you see someone that is super like done up and maybe has like butt injections, or their face is all done, the fake eyelashes, the fake lips. I think there's something that tells you maybe that person isn't fully like mentally safe or like secure, and then that turns into like your like the evolutionary part of your brain goes, that person might not be the most stable and healthy and like someone to follow,
Mm-hmm.
to where someone that just looks their age.
Yeah.
You might translate that to, they have more wisdom, they have more experience, I have something that I can learn from them or take from them, and they might be more physically, or not physically, but like mentally strong.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we might lose that when it just becomes more normalized, because just like, well, it's
Right.
everybody's doing that. It's not like they're less than, or not less than, but like they don't think less of themselves, or because it's just so common.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the general feeling, is if you see somebody who has done a lot of plastic surgery, or just kind of has done all of those things for their appearance, it makes you think or feel something of sorts of like that they may not be happy with themselves or who they are, and that makes you kind of go down a path of just different thoughts of like what they might be going through or all that kind of stuff, that none of that could be true. Like, they could be more stable than you are, and they just made they just see it as, well, you chose the shirt you're wearing today, and I'm not judging you for that. Like, this is just what I wanted to do. And it's also just like what makes you feel happy. The having pre-workout, that may not be the best thing to do or have, but are you getting super judged for that because you're taking pre-workout? Well, probably not.
By you, but that's it.
No. No. I don't judge you for it.
Just make comments. Judging, make mean comments. Same.
No. I don't judge you for it.
But you're right. I think
you just have like 12 cups of coffee a day and then pre-workout. That's what it's.
Let's get on that because I want to talk about how yummy this is. But yeah, I think it's becoming more normalized, and I think we need to learn more about it. It's like the whole birth control thing. Like, girls getting on birth control super young and not knowing the effects that it has on their body, and your doctor definitely not going into details of the negatives of what it could do. But I think it is just that, again, it's like that quick fix solution.
Well, and I think there's always.
But again, yeah, if you want to look a certain way and you think that's going to make you happy and live a healthier lifestyle, live a better lifestyle because you're making that choice, who cares? Like I said, I want to get lips and teeth.
And teeth. You already have teeth. And lips. No, it's hard because it's like you shouldn't judge anybody for what they do, but it doesn't mean that you can't analyze and make decisions upon, should I go sit by this person? Should I go do business deals with this person? Stuff like that. I wish I remember who it was. I can't remember now. But there's a story about like this businessman. He went golfing with a potential business partner, and they went with their wives or whatever, and the guy that owned the business was going to do a deal with this person. And the business owner's wife saw the other guy like cheat. He like moved his ball, and at the end of it, they kind of went home or whatever. And the guy was like, I think I'm going to do that deal with him or whatever. And the wife was like, do not do a deal with him. Do not. And he's like, well, why? What? She's like, I saw him cheat at golf. It's like, if he's going to cheat at something so silly and dumb like this, like, what do you think he's going to do when money and all of this stuff is on the line? And I wish I remember who it was, but sure as shit, he doesn't do the deal with this person, and that guy ends up like money laundering and in jail for like all of these, like embezzlement and all these crazy things with some other person that he did a deal with. And it was like, so you can't, like, this is also part of human nature, is analyzing people, making a not a judgment, but a observation maybe about this person's maybe appearance or the way that they're acting, and going, maybe I shouldn't do a deal with them, or maybe I shouldn't sit by them, or maybe I shouldn't talk to them. And that's what it's like. You can't take it personally. If I'm making these decisions based on your appearance, you can't take it personally. You made your decision on your appearance. I'm making my decision on whether I'm going to hire you for this job or not.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Like everything has consequences. Everything. So you may make these decisions about your appearance. Well, it's just like with me. Like, look at how I'm dressed. I'm dressed like a slub. Mm-hmm. My hair is all messed up. I have a bad mustache. Like, people are going to look at me and go, well, this person doesn't take care of himself at all, so he can't take care of anything else. And that's a fair assessment for them, looking at my appearance. Sure. That's a consequence that I have to deal with.
Yeah.
Now, if I dress in a suit and tie and have my hair all done up and, clean shave, and I look presentable, then they may be more willing, or they may go, hey, this person looks capable. So let's hire him or let's do a deal with him.
And that's interesting because I feel like as it's becoming more normalized, I think this is pretty much just in the female space. I don't really see this happening with guys that often. But like with girls getting all of that stuff done so early on, or even just done it all and it becoming so normal, is you see so many people that look like that or have that, have those features of the, like, they're getting their eyes done or they're wearing fake lashes all the time or the lips and all that kind of stuff, like fake tans and blah, blah, blah. We're seeing that as the normal image now, that it doesn't stand out as like,
as obscure or different.
Right. So you just see that as like, oh, that's the better way to look. It looks more clean. It looks more symmetrical. To your brain, it like calculates a little bit better, so then it looks just more pleasant and
Sure.
seamless. That anybody that looks like regular face, so that they didn't adjust, that starts to look messy and like less put together.
And I think that's kind of like what we were saying is technology's gotten better so that it doesn't look as obscure. It doesn't look as different. It looks normal and it looks more pleasant now rather than, this like, oh, we can clearly tell that this person has had plastic surgery or has done these things. So, and it's all of it comes back to too, like it depends on the individual. Like somebody who has had a bunch of plastic surgery done or, had anything done may be completely capable and may be completely secure in themselves. It's just a decision that they make. And I think that's, I think it's slightly unfair to judge somebody by their appearance, but it's part of the assessment. Should you take the time to talk to them, or say it's a job interview, they walk in, you shouldn't go, well, I'm not hiring this person, they've had plastic surgery, and that means they're incapable. No, you should have the conversation, have the interview, and talk with them because they may be completely capable.
Sure.
But it is part of the assessment, and I think it should be. It's part of analyzing and it's part of human nature of, okay, I need to stay away from this person. Look at their eyes. They're drunk and belligerent. You don't just like go sit down next to that person at the bar. That's danger. So you stay away. And we do that with everything. Yeah. Even just like posture, the way that you're sitting or standing.
That's huge for me, I think.
That's
huge for me.
We do it all the time with everything. And I think that's my point is there's a consequence with anything and everything you do, whether it's what you wear or how you're sitting or standing or whether you choose to shave or not shave or all of it has consequences. And it's not to put stress or pressure on it, but sometimes
just be the most authentic to you, because either way people are going to judge you. So it's hard to like match your personality, match what you feel your value is based off of your looks, because people are going to take that either way. Some people could look at us that haven't done anything and go, well,
they're not trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have regular razor lips, not trying. You have your regular eyelashes on, not trying. Yeah.
But I think it all comes back to the individual, and it's assess yourself. Why are you making those decisions? Why am I wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt and not shaving and that kind of thing? Assessing for yourself. Why am I getting plastic surgery, or why am I getting tattoos? Is it to be covering something? Is it for a negative, or is it for a positive, basically?
So onto my coffee. I've been back. Oh, you guys wouldn't know, but I'm back on espresso. I've been doing regular coffee for a little bit. I like hot coffee. It's just not my jam. It doesn't get me up in the morning. It's fine if I have to have it, but I don't like choose that most of the time. We've been doing just regular coffee, and then I've been trying to like freeze it, or I'll just like make it the next morning so that it's cold. But I've been back on the espresso. It just tastes different. I'm sure it makes sense to why, but I'll do espresso, and then I will put We have these rubber ice cube trays that are so awesome. The rubber ice cube trays, and then I put coffee in those ice cube trays, so then it freezes the coffee. So then I do espresso with coffee cubes. So then it chills it makes it cold, but then it doesn't dilute it with the water. And then as the coffee melts, the cubes, you just get more coffee. It's just the best. It's just the best. And that's all I have to say about it, but
I wish I was excited about anything as much as you are about
it's
this.
so good. It just tastes so like intense and rich. So good. It's so good.
Yeah.
It just tastes different. It tastes good every single time. I think that's what I love about it. That's one thing that Chris D'Elia said, and he did a vlog of going to all these different coffee shops and just trying their espresso. He's like, coffee bean is the most consistent. You know what it's going to taste like every single time you order it. It's not like, oh, this time they put too much water in it. Or it's like they put the same amount of ice with the same amount of coffee. You know what coffee they're going to use. It's going to taste the exact same. I feel like I've gotten that with Starbucks now, where I don't do the iced Americano anymore. I'll do it just a triple shot of espresso over ice. It's the closest. Okay. We went to Starbucks the other day. Also, we have, I think, one of my favorite Starbucks I've ever gone to by our house. I love the interior. Cool. It's so California, I think. Like the white and the like light beige wood, whatever. But so I just told you my order. It's a triple shot of espresso over ice. So the amount of coffee is like this much. They give me a venti cup of ice. I don't know. I mean, it's fine. But like when there's this much coffee and you think, oh, she probably needs this much ice.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
I mean, it
was a choice.
It might make sense. Like a triple shot of it, like that's a lot of espresso. That's strong. She must want to dilute it a lot.
Sure. Yeah.
But I don't know. It was funny. Just like a huge cup of ice with this like 2 inches of brown water at the bottom.
But it's good because then it doesn't, with the Americano, I felt like it diluted it too much with the water, that with the hot espresso, it starts to melt the ice anyways, and then it chills and it continues to melt and dilutes it, but it's not.
It's such
crazy.
A science experiment for you. And I
can't, so annoying.
I can't imagine taking that much time for something that small part of my day. But you drink coffee from like sun up to sundown, so
I don't. It just takes me that long to drink that. I mean, I don't add more coffee to it. I don't like, it's not like I'm having cup after cup. I just enjoy that one all day or like for a while. But it's so annoying how long it takes. I don't like that. That's why I'm trying to figure out different ways, like how do I make it work. The cold coffee actually was, I think, the best option. It doesn't taste as rich, but I think for like efficiency, like making the coffee and then chilling it. But it's annoying, and it's such a small part of the day, but it is like the one, like it's something I love so much. So it's like, I don't enjoy just a plain cup of hot coffee as much. It's like, if I could have the perfect cup of coffee every day, wouldn't you want that?
Not seeing what you have to go through. I also enjoy hot coffee more, and that just seems to be easier to make, easier to do.
I'm happy I figured out that Starbucks order, because for a while I was just like, Starbucks is the only thing that's open in the airport, or was the only thing open in the airport. I was like, oh, I gotta get Starbucks, and it's not even that good. But there's this, they just opened now. We live in Austin Texas right now. So I fly out of the Austin airport. I don't know if it's just because it was COVID that they didn't open up any of the food stuff because there just wasn't a lot of people there or something. But all of the food stuff is open now, like both of those little food court areas. And there's this one coffee place called, I think it's Joe's. No, it's like, it's in a little like coffee or a food truck kind of thing. You know what place I'm talking about?
Yeah, Joe's is like all over Austin. There's like multiple.
Really?
Yeah, there's like one on Congress. It's like it's red. It's got like the red
Yeah.
sign and just a white
Yeah.
simple Joe. Yeah, those are like everywhere here.
Okay. We should go to one then. They have this thing called I think it's like the turbo. I don't know. What I think it's like turbo something, but I think it's like 2 shots of espresso mixed with cold brew. Talk about intense. That's like mine.
Yeah.
Basically what it is. It's good. And they have cool cups. I don't know. It was good though. So I think that's what I'm going to start getting when I go there.
Coffee's just your thing.
It's my thing.
I just don't have the interest to talk about it as much as you do.
I know. No one cares about this. I mean,
No,
this whole like
somebody that
this
probably
past 5
cares.
minutes. Like, wait, what's your order?
Yeah. I got to try that.
I think why I like it, it's like all of my favorite things. It gives me energy, so I love the feeling that it gives me. It's cheap, so I don't have the guilt of like if I go and get it or buy it, it's a drink, and I love getting drinks. And the environment that you typically buy it in, I love. Like I love coffee shops. It's like there's nothing bad about it besides it like staining your teeth, which I hate that part, but yeah, it's like there's nothing bad about it.
And caffeine withdrawals.
Yes. I really haven't been noticing it that much. Like in the past couple times where we've done like the cycle off. I haven't noticed it.
You don't really cycle off though.
Yes, I have. Or like days where I don't get to it. I don't have any headaches.
Yeah, I think we have I don't think you really cycle off. Yeah, I love coffee. I do, but I think what I like about coffee is different than what you like about it. I like how simple it is, yet how good it is. And I think you make it so complex, which just totally takes my interest out of it.
That I could see. That makes sense.
You know, it's like you rarely get something that's that awesome that is so simple.
You know what?
I think that's what I love.
I actually do that a lot. That's kind of like what I do in life. I take a thing that's really simple and great, and I go, how great can we make this? And then it takes out the simplicity of it. It's like, coffee is so good. How good can we make it?
Yeah. Yeah, this is what we were talking about on one of the last ones with the whole cereal thing. Cereal and donuts and stuff. Or no, it wasn't about that. It was about ice cream.
Oh, just like keep it simple?
Yeah,
with the gelato, you said that.
Yeah.
That's just you didn't know anything about gelato. But I get what you're saying. I don't mean that as a slam, but like it's not like gelato was this new. I bet gelato, if you look it up, I bet gelato is older than ice cream. Doesn't matter.
Why would you think?
Doesn't matter.
That's just a guess. You're like, I bet you, like you have literally zero information about either of those two things and when they came out, yet you're like, I bet you.
Well, we'll look it up and then I'll put it.
I mean, then it's like, congrats, lucky guess. You got a 50% chance.
Because I feel like it's from where it's from. I just think everything is old there.
I hope it's like first created in 2012.
In like America, somewhere it's like in
Yeah.
Florida.
It's
like,
not
even like
no.
anything European at all.
Yeah, and then yeah.
I have been like so into like Florida vibes lately.
Yeah, we're watching the Cocaine Cowboys.
I made the colada the other day,
Yeah.
and that was good. And then like hearing the music and the show, I just like I want to go back to the beach. I want to be in that.
Yeah.
Fun. I think it's maybe just because it's getting cold here or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, maybe
That
you're ready for
lifestyle just
vacation.
seems fun right now.
Yeah. Well, should we get into something actually fitness?
So we are going to talk today about the difference between stretching and mobility. Both of them are obviously super important, but I think sometimes it gets confusing of like, well, when do I implement stretching? When do I implement mobility? And I think for a lot of people, they're like, is there even a difference?
Yeah.
I love when we do this. I'm trying to like give you a space to talk so I'm not over talking you. And then you're just like, pass it back to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think stretching is just kind of like what everybody thinks about it. Just you're elongating the muscles to help them relax. And I think stretching can be a part in mobility, I guess you could say, but they are different.
Stretching is more, you can do, I mean, it's different kind of like you can do static stretching, you do dynamic. Mobility is more of a passing movement. So you wouldn't always sit and like hold a position to where for stretching, you can do that with static stretching. Mobility is more of a passive movement where you're adding motion along with it, but stretching is going to work more on your muscles and lengthening the tissue in your muscles, to where mobility, you're focusing more on your joints and being able to increase your range of motion and being able to utilize. This is why, kind of like what he was saying, you kind of have to have both of them. Is I kind of explained to like my dancers where stretching, say you can go into the splits and you can sit there and hold the splits. That's where the stretching and the lengthening of the muscle is going to come in. But then are you able to use that flexibility in a passive motion, to where if they go across the floor and they're going to go into a leap where they're needing to hit that split in the air, are their joints and muscles able to create that shape and send that signal from their brain to hit that position where their flexibility is, and be able to control that movement.
Yeah, and I think another part into that is having the strength to be able to sit in that area too. Like,
yes.
I think an example like shoulder press, where a lot of us are forward shoulder. So when we do shoulder press, we're kind of rounded at the shoulders, and we're maybe pushing more up at an angle forward. And that'll kind of show you that you have poor mobility because you can't retract your shoulder blades and then kind of push straight up over your head. And that's where like you may have the flexibility to pull your shoulders back and press your arms straight up and have your arms up over your head, but now load that with weight. Do you have the strength to be able to stay in that position and still continue to push? This is kind of why you see as you get tired at the end of your set, or maybe at the end of your workout, your form starts to go, because your body is it's tired, it's fatigued, but it's maybe, in your squat, you're starting to shift to one side, or you're kind of doing these funny things because your mobility isn't really up to par. You're getting tired, and now you're going to path of least resistance, and you're kind of sitting in these odd positions that if you worked on your mobility and were strong in those positions, you wouldn't have that issue.
Yes. So I think that you could see it both ways, or see it two different ways. You could see it as just, I'm just a regular person wanting to live my life. You want to be able to have mobility that your joints can move in a passive, like I'm trying to give an example of like just bending over and picking something up. You might have the flexibility to touch your toes, but do you have the ability to be able to bend at the hips properly, to be able to bend at your knees or use your ankles and create movement through that you can easily go down, bend up, and then stand back up? To where with something of working out and where this is beneficial to have both is, if you think of a rubber band and you just keep stretching it and stretching it and stretching it, that rubber band is going to get looser, but it's not going to be able to snap back into place or have the tautness to be able to be utilized. So your muscle is really stretched out, but now when you go to add load on it, you're adding load or adding weight to a more lengthened and maybe a possible more flimsy rubber band, which would be your muscles. That adding mobility is allowing that rubber band to stretch, but then still able to place load on it. And you're going to be able to control the movement. You're going to be able to control the weight. That's something that I struggled with getting into working out, because with dance, I was super flexible, but then I didn't have the mobility and the strength to back up the flexibility. So then something like doing a deadlift or doing a straight leg deadlift, I could fully go down and touch my toes, no problem. But then when you add weight onto that, it's like, well, now I need to figure out the balance, and I maybe have to go even less than what my flexibility allows me to do, because I can't control heavy weight within that lengthened position. So I think something like a 90-90 is a really good, you can see where the flexibility and the mobility are different, is if you sit in a 90-90 position, which we have a video on our YouTube if you don't know what I'm talking about. But if you go in a 90-90 position and you can take your back foot and pick it up and bring it to your back, you can probably get your heel close to your back if you're having someone move it or you're moving it. That's flexibility. You have that range of motion to be able to move your hip socket and move your leg in that. You have the range.
Yeah.
To where if you now try to do that without your hand and just bringing your heel to the back of your back, bringing your heel to your back, you probably won't be able to get it to that same range of motion. You might even barely be able to get it off of the ground. That's the difference of flexibility. Yes, I have the ability to move my leg in that motion. Mobility is my brain sending that signal to my hip all the way down to, okay, when I fire this muscle or fire these joints, is it going to create that same motion? Most of the time, no, and that's what we need to work on, because most of the time you're needing to actively be able to pass through these ranges of motion. Flexibility, you probably can do it, but can you add load to it? Can you do it effectively to where your joints and muscles are working together?
I think that's where the strength comes in as well. Like with the you're talking about the connection to be able to do that without using your hand or somebody else to pull your leg up for that. The connection, but then also the strength, because you can kind of just be flexible and shut everything off and relax and pull that leg up far. But then when you have to activate that muscle or muscles to then hold it there, that's why I love like doing that. And then as you're up kind of close to your back, then let go and try to hold as much as you can, or just that decelerating down. I think that's a good way to practice and help that connection too. But it's like that'll show you too where your mobility lies versus your just flexibility.
Yeah. I think another like real world situation is, I envision like if you're driving in a car and you're going to go reach for something in the back seat. I have the flexibility to be able to reach back and extend through my chest muscle and extend to my shoulder to grab that thing. But then when you go to pick that thing up and now you're adding load, that's going to put more stress on your joints. That's where the mobility comes in. Is, can I apply load to this lengthened position?
Which I think that's a great segue into too, like both of these things are also really helpful for injury prevention. That not only being flexible is going to help injury prevention, but the mobility of like what you're talking about is you may be able to get your arm back there and be stretched out, but then once you grab and try to pick that up, that's where you could potentially get injured by just trying to do that. And so working on the mobility of that is going to help you not get injured in these funny, weird ways, or say you're, putting a suitcase up in the overhead bin.
Not going to tweak your shoulder when you do that.
Not going to tweak your shoulder, or you're just carrying something awkwardly or lifting something up. Like having that increased range of motion and then also the strength within that increased range of motion is going to help your injury prevention massively. Not just stretching at the end of your workout and being lengthened. You have to have the strength too.
So now let's talk about where you can implement both of these. I think stretching and mobility can be brought into your day-to-day life as well as your workout program. I would think of it in the simplest form of stretching is going to be lengthening your muscle, Mobility is adding range of motion and to be able to put force on it. So if you're going to go into your workout, you don't really want your muscles to be just lengthened and loose. You want to be able to fire them. You want to be able to add force and production within your range of motion. So I would add mobility at the beginning of your workout, add some sort of dynamic or static stretching at the end of your workout. The only time that I would maybe bring in just a stretch before my workout is if I'm like super sore and I'm just needing to kind of get my muscles warmed up prior to what I'm lifting.
Even then, I would probably suggest like a dynamic stretching, to where you're moving. You typically see like football players do this where they're walking and pulling their knee up to their chest or pulling their foot behind, and not just standing there pulling their foot behind and stretching. It's an active motion. That way you're warming up the muscle, but in a way of like stretching and contracting, rather than just stretching it and holding it there. Because what you're going to go do is contract the muscle and relax the muscle. So you want to be kind of warming it up in that way to be doing that. And I think another thing, if you're really sore or really tight somewhere, a little bit of like light foam rolling can help too, because that's something that's also somewhat active, but it just can help kind of massage that tissue and open it up a little bit more. So then you can get into those ranges of motions that you're wanting to. But the foam rolling, it was kind of a super influential one that came about, that everybody started to do it and they thought it was just the cure-all. It's not the cure-all. It's an asset. So just use it as that. But yeah, I would say the same thing. Like mobility before your workout is probably best. Stretching afterwards. But then both can be used at any point. If you're at home and you feel tight, you can stretch. You can do mobility. Or even if you're not going to work out that day, go in and do a mobility session and then stretch at the end, and then you're done.
We have a mobility program that you can also get and guide you through different mobility exercises if you're wanting to increase your mobility and just add that into your programming. We have one that we wrote, and they're in sessions, just in case you want just a few more ideas, and we will have videos that go along with it. And if you're someone that wants to increase your flexibility and not just like loosen up, a great way that I have used this and use this with my dancers as well is adding tension to your stretch. So for example, if you're like just a full like pike stretch where you're sitting down, you're reaching for your toes, adding a flex, so where you're flexing, you're activating your the muscles so that you're tightening them in that range of motion or in that static hold, that will kind of increase at a more intense rate, I guess. Or like if you're doing like a butterfly stretch, you could have someone press on your back and then you press against, or you're going up against a wall and you're bringing your foot up to your head, adding pressure. So then you're pressing against your hand so that you're adding tension to the hold. That's just for people that if you're wanting to gain some flexibility.
Yeah, cool. I think for most people, mobility and stretching is probably what gets pushed away. So I would say that those two are probably the top two things that you could add to your workouts or to your workout day or whatever, to your regimen, to help with anything and everything. It's going to help everything, especially if you're not already doing it. I know for myself, that's where I lack in, is doing those two things, that I could do those more. And, I think that's where like a lot of people that I'm not seeing any gains, or I'm not seeing this, or I feel like I've hit a plateau, those kind of like just the general, I've stopped progressing, what now? If you're not doing these two things, I would highly suggest these two things, because it might have nothing to do with your programming, your workouts, or any of that kind of stuff. It could have to do with just these two things.
Yeah. And again, we have a mobility program out right now that you can buy. And then we'll also be in the future possibly doing a recovery program as well, which will probably involve more of the stretching element. Next topic that we wanted to cover was what are trigger sessions?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of coined by Mind Pump. That's kind of their
Their term,
terminology,
yes, yes.
their verbiage.
It's becoming more normalized now
Yeah,
or commonly used.
yeah. They're basically, from my understanding, they're basically working out kind of throughout the day. You can also use them on a day that you're working out, but it's basically like grabbing something like bands or using body weight. And I think for a layman's term, you're kind of pumping the muscle throughout the day. So it could be, you could set it up to where you're doing, say, a chest workout that day, or I think a lot of people are doing full body now. You could just have a kind of full body routine of maybe it's squats or it's like just band flies or whatever, but you're kind of just pumping the muscle throughout the day to trigger those muscles to activate and like basically like muscle building, but you're just doing it at a very low
This is
low
not
intensity.
it's not something that you should be doing the same weight that you would be on your regular lifting days. This is and like you said, Mind Pump kind of calls them trigger sessions. The old bodybuilders like Arnold, they like show them doing this and pumping iron. I don't know if they would call it trigger sessions back then, or
they would probably just call them like pump ups or pump sessions,
because that's really all that you're trying to do is just getting blood flow into the muscles and kind of upping that volume a little bit of just like I kind of see it as like you're just keeping your muscles like, okay, we're just gonna say hey, like we're just keeping you working a little bit and then we're gonna give you a little rest. We're not going full force and needing to like I said, use the same weight that you would on your regular working days, but it's just keeping them kind of active. It's like your metabolism. You're kind of keeping it going most of the time. And it's a good way to implement for muscle groups that you're wanting to maybe build or a little bit harder to build. So for me, maybe with my my glutes, I would do my regular heavy lifting days, and then on my off days, I would maybe add in more of the accessory work that I probably wouldn't add in on my actual working days, like band work or like the kickbacks, cable kickbacks, or the frog pumps, or things that I wouldn't say are
staples and
like
hardworking.
There's things that I can just quickly throw in there and very, very low resistance. That again, is just kind of waking up the muscle and keeping it firing on your off days and just adding a little bit more volume and activity to that area. You can do it all over, but I think it's a good way to up the volume and again, just on those maybe trickier spots or areas that you're wanting to build out a little bit more right now.
I think that's the important part to emphasize is it's like bands or body weight. It's not like a second workout you're doing, or it's not like the intensity should be very, very low. It should be with things that are not causing your muscles to strain or work a lot. It's almost, I don't want to use the word warm up because it's not that, but you're pumping the muscle and getting the blood flowing, getting those muscles activated. I feel like there's still a lot we don't know about, like the benefits of it. They're still somewhat coming out in a sense and continuing to, but my guess is like the recovery aspect of it is probably ginormous. It's like what they say when you're super sore, it's actually better to go out and do something and be active, not go destroy that muscle group again, but like, go for a walk and be active and, maybe go for a run or go to the gym and do some light stuff with that muscle group, because getting that blood flowing to that muscle is going to help it recover more. So I would say that these trigger sessions are probably huge for recovery.
I didn't even think about that, but that's probably so true. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it is increasing your volume like you're talking about. It's increasing your volume a little bit, but it's sending that muscle building signal, but it's at such a low frequency, or not a frequency, at such a low intensity that it's probably not doing a huge amount for your muscle building. I think it compounds of like if you're doing 2 or 3 trigger sessions a day and then your usual workout, like you're going to be sending that muscle building signal a lot, and it's probably going to be helping that a lot. But because it's just bands or body weight, you're probably past like the bands. You're not doing like 5 reps of the bands and you're like, oh man, I'm so strong. Like you're doing 15 to 20 repetitions and getting the blood flowing. And that I would say my guess is it's going to be way more helpful for the recovery versus the muscle building.
Which probably then in turn turns into the muscle building because your
Exactly.
body is recovering quicker. You're able to build that muscle and repair that muscle quicker.
Yep.
It's like when you're building muscle, your not fibers, your what's what I'm looking or
Your muscle fibers. I mean, that's kind of old, I guess, old ideas. Like you're tearing the muscle fibers and then they're repairing stronger. You don't need to go that far. You don't need to be tearing the muscle. Like,
right. The tissue, I think, is what I'm looking for. Like, you're breaking down the tissue somewhat, or like,
which even that's not. I mean, I think there's still truth to that, but I think the old way of thinking was you had to get to that point in order for your muscles to get stronger and grow. To where it's like that's really not the case. It's just
yeah.
It's still a part of it, but it's just going to let you recover faster. It's like what you're saying. You're recovering faster and more efficiently that you can now, like your volume does increase on your big lifting days now because you're always recovered. You're always fully recovered or,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 And it's something that should be quick. It's not like you're doing a full hour of trigger sessions or like a trigger session. Like, it's just something to kind of keep the activity going, keep that muscle awake and firing. And again, very low resistance. So don't get in your head with that. If you're going to the gym and you're doing one of these or implementing it into your program regularly, don't think, oh, well, normally I do curls with, 25 or 35 pound dumbbells and now I'm grabbing the 10s. I don't like that. I don't like how that hits my ego. You have to have a different intent for it.
Yeah.
It should be lighter. It should barely like, and again, it's just getting the pump. It's not to like.
And I would even challenge people to try not to use dumbbells or barbells, or try not to use what they usually use. Like I would try to stick to just bands and body weight for it. Because I think that's really all you need. You don't want to put. And also with the bands, you're getting that different eccentric part of the lift that you don't get a lot of other places. So not only is it like you're doing these trigger sessions and it's for activating the muscle and it's for recovery, but you're also getting a different feel for the exercise where you wouldn't if you just grab dumbbells or barbells like you usually do. So I would even say try to go to the bands as much as you can with it because you're going to get that band pulling you on that eccentric part of the lift. Your muscle is learning. You're learning something different, how to control that on the way back to where you're not getting that from dumbbells the same way.
Yeah, I like that. And that also is probably more convenient for most people. Like, you don't even need to go to the gym to do this. You could do this throughout your work day or, like just take 15 minutes on your off day and do this. And I would suggest adding in mobility also with this. Adding going back to the last thing that we talked about, adding mobility in a trigger session on your off days is probably going to help tremendously. Just keeping that activity going, keeping your mind on that, keeping your intent the same of like, this is a goal I'm going for. I'm trying to add this into my lifestyle regularly. You don't need to just like go to the gym every single day and go full force at it.
Yeah.
You're 90% intensity.
And that's what we've learned more so as of recently is frequency is more beneficial than I shouldn't say more beneficial, but the frequency of exercising typically is like more beneficial than the intensity. There's purposes for both, but as far as general health and wellness, it's probably better for you to do 2 trigger sessions and then a 30-minute lifting like weights workout versus you going and doing a 2-hour like dumbbells lifting workout. And being able to do that, I should break it off into weeks more, but like being able to do 2 trigger sessions and a 30-minute workout every day for a
Sure.
week versus like you can hit 3 big 2-hour workouts during the week. Like the little amounts of frequency is better, not only better for your body, but for your mental state too, because you're constantly working and like it's easier to stay on track to where when you wake up and you go, oh my God, I got to do this 2-hour workout, you're way more likely to skip out on that and not do it than you are. Yeah, I just got to get 2 trigger sessions in and then 30 minutes of weights. So I think that's the other part is like, if you can, I mean, they're like 20, $25 on Amazon, buy some bands. And I would say the best used is use them throughout your day rather than like right before your workout or something of that sort. Or like you said, on your mobility, on your rest day, doing that in a mobility. Oh man.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah, especially for just overall, like you said, overall health and it all workouts and all workout programs most of the time should have an intent for it. If you're trying to bulk and bump up your weight, maybe that is not the approach that you could take, but just for the general population, like you said, you're going to be able to stay consistent with that. It's going to help you. It's going to help your recovery. So I think it's something to try. If you have never done it before and you're just wanting to look for something else, I would add it in and maybe start with adding it into a body part that you're wanting to build out a little bit more so that you can see if it changes at all rather than doing your whole body all the time. Maybe just adding in a couple for specific spots.
And I would say if you do it, pay attention to your energy levels after it for the rest of the day or throughout the day, and pay attention to like how you're feeling mentally. Because, you know, if you're working from home or you are at work and you're at your office or whatever, and you're able to stop for a second, it's literally like 5 to 15 minutes this could take you. So if you stop for 5 minutes and you do a trigger session, and you go back to work, I think it's going to pay huge dividends of like your energy for the next how many hours, and just your intention or your kind of want to get back into work and be going, you know, like it pays huge dividends. So if you're able to buy some bands throughout your day, stop 5 minutes, do some curls, do some squats, whatever. It doesn't have to be super intense. You don't have to break a sweat. It's not for that. It's not supposed to be that. And then pay attention to the rest of your day or after that. I think you're going to see huge changes just in your mental state.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think we're going to wrap this up, right?
Yeah, I think that's good.
So, if you guys have any topics that you want us to talk about, otherwise we're just going to keep going with whatever interests us and what we think people should hear. But if you have something specifically that you want us to kind of touch on, you could contact us through our Instagram, the hub, all lowercase, the hub_fitness, our Facebook page, the hub fitness, or you can email us at all lowercase, thehub.fitcrew@gmail.com. At gmail.com. It's .com, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That when I was thinking
Sound
of it,
weird?
I was like, why would it be .com? Yes, that's our email. We're going to continue to put out podcasts and more new stuff coming out as well. And
Yeah, so I would say just like, I think the usual, you can like and subscribe and hit the notification bell, and then you're going to be able to see all the new stuff that we put out, because we're going to be pumping them out and keeping them coming.
Yeah, and pay attention to our social medias coming up too, because we're going to have some pretty large deals coming up for Christmas and stuff. So you want to pay attention to that. otherwise, thanks for listening.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Cool.